Lovelies, welcome back to this channel. If you're new here, my name is Belinda Strana. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Don't forget to please subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications so that anytime I upload videos, you will be the first person to be notified. To my returning subscribers, to those people that share my videos, leave commentaries, and also educate each and every one of us. You guys are the real MVP. Alright, lovelies, let's dive into today's video.
Lovelies, I came across this video on my For You page on TikTok, and I thought to share with you guys. This is actually a part 2 where this Mexican man is actually calling all of the Black Americans people to, relocate to Mexico, telling them that Mexico is not racist, there's no sundown, and all of the things he listed. I'm just going to roll the clip because a lot of people actually came for him, giving him and showing him the reasons why that is actually a bad idea. I'm just going to roll it. Please leave me your own thought in the comment section of what you think of this video. Alright, lovely, let's dive into it.
Why do Black Americans keep asking me if it's safe to visit Mexico? You're a Black person living in the USA. I think you're asking the wrong questions. Don't let the US propaganda get to you. We don't have sundown towns in Mexico. We don't have politicians constantly trying to gerrymander and redistribute district lines to diminish your vote. Mexico doesn't have Confederate statues in front of government buildings. Our second president ever was a Black man. When did the US get their first Black president? None of your neighbors in Mexico will ever call the police on you because you look suspicious. No police officer is ever going to pull you over here in Mexico because you match the description. Despite being a US citizen in the US, they will always treat you as a second-class citizen. I know that the USA has done you guys dirty for most of its history, but not every country is as messed up as the USA, guys. The worst thing that can happen to you here in Mexico is you get a stomach ache because you had a great night with great food. But anyways, instead of asking, is Mexico safe to visit, take a look around you. But anyways, what do I know? Let me know what you guys think.
About this,
Americans keep asking me if it's safe to visit Mexico. But anyways, what do I know?
frankly, not enough. So he went on to pretend that racism doesn't exist in Mexico, when it was part of the makeup of Mexico. They had a system called the castas, which basically articulated every race and any variety of mixed races. And this hierarchical system, as you might notice, was tied to the color of one's skin, with fair-skinned people at the top. And this system of colorism, while not legally part of Mexican society today, definitely has an impact on how people are treated. Mexico is not a racism-free society. It's just that people like him want to pretend that it is, because he is white passing, and so it does not impact his life.
Guatemalan here and Black American, but I don't need to be of that region to tell you why Black people do our due diligence before traveling anywhere, including to places like Mexico or Guatemala. Because there's this thing called global raciality, thus globally anti-Blackness. But let's not get into the global sphere. Let's talk about Mexico specifically. And you may be thinking, why is a Guatemalan talking about Mexico? Well, there's a lot of shared histories and cultures, to keep it short. Not to mention, they are right next to each other, separated only by a nation-state border, which is a colonial abstraction. So the reality is anti-Blackness and anti-indigeneity is a part of the cultural fabric of Mexico. For those who may not know, there's this thing called the casta system, which dates back to colonial times, which positioned Black and indigenous people at the very bottom, and those legacies of that hierarchy are still alive today. How so? Well, African-descended and indigenous people in Mexico and Guatemala continue to fight for their sovereignty and equity. For example, Maya movements in Mexico are actively fighting for indigenous sovereignty, land rights, environmental protections, cultural preservation, and more. And Afro-Mexicans, who have long been marginalized and excluded from national narratives alongside indigenous groups, were officially recognized for the first time in the 2020 census. Activists have been fighting for greater representation and recognition of Afro-Mexican rights, pushing for access to basic services like access to education and healthcare in their communities. So when you tell Black Americans don't fall for the propaganda, the implication is that we're blindly believing something that is unlikely to be true. We are intelligent enough to be curious about the racial dynamics of a place prior to us traveling there, and for good reason. It seems like you may be proud of your country, and you may want to make it look like it's not a racist place. There are beautiful things, people, cultures, knowledges, etc. in Mexico like there are in the US, like there are in Guatemala. That said, I usually remind folks of this next quote in the context of the US, but I think it may apply here too. Malcolm X said, "You're not to be so blind with patriotism that you can't face reality." Like the US, Mexico is a nation state. It's a colonial enterprise that was founded through unethical means. We have to contend with this because if you love Mexico, how could you work to improve it if you turn your gaze away from its issues? Just something to think about. I intended this to be a constructive addition to the conversation you have opened for us.
A lot of people don't understand when I say that Mexicans are culturally racist. They think that I'm calling us openly racist. We are culturally racist, and this is how. Part of our culture is to frown upon dark-skinned people. It's been passed down to us by the Spaniards, by our colonizers, by the people that conquered us, taught us that dark skin is inferior, light skin is superior. We were taught that. It was passed down to us, meaning it's part of our culture. We are culturally racist in this aspect. That doesn't mean I go out in the streets and want to hurt black people because they're black.
Right, right.
It means that our teachings, the way we're raised, is that we are raised to subconsciously believe that dark skin is inferior and light skin is superior. Another element in our Mexican culture is Univision News, Univision Channel. That channel is run by white Latinos. The ideologies and subliminal teachings that they teach is very similar to Fox News. White supremacist-ish. They make efforts to depict dark-skinned people as criminals, that whenever they even bother.
Mexicans also owned African slaves. The couple of hundred Africans that were on the boats with the Europeans that traveled over here were owned by Mexicans. Mexicans are a literal genetic makeup of the Spanish conquistador homies of Christopher Columbus, the Europeans, and original American Indians. Not only that, but y'all are heavily racist. Why are we trying to kid here, guys? To go out of your way to prove how you're not racist tells on yourself instantly. It ain't like you got on here and said, "Why do you ask us that? Let me show you my beautiful town." And why do y'all be playing? As if y'all don't come over here, become our officers, lawyers, judges, and are hella fucking racist, okay? Okay? You're just white with a taco popping, okay?
Because of anti-blackness. Anti-blackness is anywhere and everywhere, in every country. Even in Africa, there's anti-blackness because we're black Americans. In the United States, I'm not the only one, but I've experienced racism from Mexicans in the United States of America. So would I be wrong to assume and ask, hey, is it okay for me to go to Mexico? If Mexicans are racist towards us and anti-black here in the United States, don't it sound right for me to check, hey, in their home country, is it okay for me to go there? And on top of that, I be seeing how y'all be treating Afro-Mexican, like the dark nappy-headed Mexicans. I'm hearing they don't even get treated right down there. So if y'all don't treat y'all local Negroes right, what make you think we're supposed to think that y'all gonna treat the United States Negroes any better than that? You know?
Maybe because we genuinely want to know. Because, nigga, where are we accepted at? I'm sorry, young man. I understand what you were saying, and I agree with you. But we gotta ask those questions. So that meant that whoever black asked you that question, they trusted you enough to trust that you would give them an honest response. Take that as a compliment and tell them hell yeah, and hook them up with your family and some plane tickets so they can go on down to Mexico, because hell, I want to go too.
Why do black
If truly they are actually asking you this said question, if truly a lot of black Americans are coming onto your DP asking you if it's so safe to visit Mexico, like the only answer to this question is the fact that Afro-Mexicans also have a problem cohabitating with people that looks like you. I think that is a problem. If you guys actually have problem with, Mexicans that looks, darker compared to the way you look, what makes you think that, black Americans, like the black Americans, will be, welcomed like the Prince Charming or the Queen and Kings? The word itself have a negative effect on black people. The word itself does not even like black people. Like, there is anti-blackness everywhere. Black people are suffering from, sometimes they even suffer the entire black. Seriously, the word has structure in a way whereby black people are the least people to even look upon. Like, they are the least people to like give respect or due, or like they don't even see them as important citizen of the world. What makes you think that when they come to Mexico, oh my god, you guys will come to the airport and welcome them like, oh my goodness, with the flowers and all of that? Meanwhile, there are a lot of black or Afro-Mexicans all over the social media talking about how discriminatory people that looks like you are towards them. There are a lot of them out there. There is a particular story that got me so pained. This lady, she was actually invited by this Ricardo of a guy who happens to be a Mexican guy. He's always talking about anti-racism in Mexico. So he, invited her over, and she narrated a story that actually struck me. She said in her family there are like 3 people, 2 girls and 1 boy. And it happens that she is a dark person. She is the one that is the darker sibling, because she have a root of her great grandmother who happens to be a dark, like a black person, And now her own parents have to, look for so many means to get her off, like marry her off, because the more she stays, her bride price or whatsoever will decrease. They treat her in a manner at which you, like, if your own parent, if your own blood can treat you or discriminate against you, what do you think that the world can actually do? If you want to go out or maybe get something, the way at which the mom will scream, do you want to get darker compared to the way you are? You have to apply sunscreen. I'm trying to see if there's a man that's going to get married to you. Like, seriously? I don't even want to put that here because, oh my goodness. The more hearing that from the mom, the father, looking for a man that will get married to her, blah, blah, blah. They question her if she goes out under the sun, try to carry her, telling her to apply more sunscreen. Does she want to get darker compared to the way she like? Black is beautiful. Like, seriously, black does not crack. If your parent can say such a word to you, what makes you think that the world will accept you? What makes you think? And now you are here talking about how, oh my god. The thing is that I don't even know who's asking you such question, because if I want to ask a question relating to this, I want to even ask someone like you. I will go look for someone, a Mexican that probably is Afro, and ask this question, and ask them the way they are treated, as an Afro Mexican. Seriously, if a family can discriminate against their own daughter, what makes you think that the world will accept you? This is the reason why they are asking, because they know the way at which the world is. Do you know, even in, like, oh my goodness, they really need to ask. But one thing about black people is that they can actually cope anyway. There's a way at which you will be oppressed so much, then you will become so, like, you don't even have to feel anything of any oppression anymore. You being oppressed is now a part of your life. like you become immune to oppression. So you live with it, you enjoy it. Seriously, it has become a norm that even if I see someone being a little bit of rare, so I was like, please, this is not new. It's not new. But just that the truth is that all of the people around, all over this world, your DNA started from Africa. The first people that ever existed is black. So no matter how you want to discriminate, no matter how you want to, oh my God, your mother is black. That is the truth. That is the truth, and this is what a lot of people do not want to accept. But there's no need to beat around the bush, because this is just the truth. Anyway, lovelies, why not just leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think of this video, and please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment. We are just here for educational and informative purposes. If you've not subscribed to this channel, do you get a huge favor to click on the subscription button, and I will see you, lovelies, when I upload the next one.
Do your girl a huge favor to click on the subscription button, like this video, share, leave your thoughts, and I will see you, lovelies, when I upload the next one.